In this video, I'm going to be working on section 27 of the plans, and this involves working with the firewall. The actual firewall is this section right here. The avionics are going to project outward here. The pilot and passenger are going to sit to the left and right respectively. You have these two spars here which form kind of a tunnel, and there's going to be a lot of stuff running through that tunnel. Also in this section you have to put various supporting structures and rivet them to the firewall. As everybody knows, stainless steel has a much higher melting point than aluminum, so the firewall is made out of stainless steel. That way, when your engine catches fire, it'll delay death for just a little while longer. Anyway, I'm going to be modifying the plans along two dimensions. First, I'm going to be adding access panels on either side of the tunnel. Specifically, I'm going to put a access panel here and an access panel here, and they're going to be slightly offset to maximize the area inside the tunnel that I can reach through the access panels. These access panels will allow me to get inside the tunnel for maintenance, and it'll make maintenance a little bit more convenient. So there's a lot of things that are going inside this tunnel. First, there's going to be fuel pumps, there's going to be scat tubing, there's going to be the fuel selector valve. I'm going to put a fuel filter in there. There's probably going to be a whole bunch of other things going through this tunnel too. Anyway, being able to get inside there for maintenance a little bit easier will be nice. So I'm adding those access panels. The second thing I need to do to modify the plans is I need to modify this fuel bracket right here. The fuel valve bracket sits right there. I purchased an aftermarket fuel valve from Air. It's a company based in the UK, and a lot of RV10 builders do this. Air makes some great fuel valves. Anyway, what I got from Air, I got two things from them. First, the fuel selector lever itself, and this sits inside the cockpit and is going to allow me to select between left and right fuel tanks, which according to some people is useful. The kit also comes with the fuel valve itself, of course, and this fuel valve is going to sit on this bracket. The thing with this fuel valve from Air though, it's a little bit too big to fit on the bracket as the bracket comes from Vans, so I'm gonna have to modify the bracket a little bit so it fits the Air valve. Again, I'm not breaking new ground here. A lot of builders do this, and I'm going to kind of do what other builders have done. Anyway, I need to make it so this bracket will hold the larger Air fuel valve. So anyway, that's basically it. There's not a lot to this section, at least that I can see. Before I start working on it, I'm going to go to the RV10 wiki and look up to see if there's any potential issues that I might run into. I found that the RV10 wiki is very, very useful for finding gotchas and things like that. It also has good advice and stuff. One of the great things about building an RV10 is anything that can be done has pretty much been done, so you don't have to be very smart to build this plane. All the bright ideas, other people have come up with them, and I can just follow what they do. Anyway, I'm gonna go have a look at that wiki, and then I'm gonna start building. So, I'm gonna get after it. I'm going to start by cutting the holes in these tunnel spars for the access panels, and then I'm going to modify the fuel valve bracket, and then from that point on, it's pretty much just going to be following the plans exactly. All right, so I finished cutting holes for the access panels on either side of the tunnel. So overall, I'm happy with how it turned out. It's not exactly going to go down as my proudest work. Some of these cuts are a little bit more janky than I wanted, but they don't look too bad. They're not exactly made with the precision of a laser cut part, but then again, they're not laser cut parts. Next up, I'm going to enlarge this fuel bracket, or specifically I need to make a base right here that's going to be a little bit bigger than this so it fits the and air fuel valve. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I finished modifying the fuel bracket to accept the and air fuel valve. And overall, I really like how it turned out. It fits the and air valve beautifully. It's not the most precise made part, but along all the dimensions that matter, it's actually turned out pretty dang precise. And I like it. My only complaint on this thing is that the edge distance between the brackets that hold this flat part, some of the edge distance between the rivet holes that I had to drill and the bracket edge are a little bit smaller than what I'd like. I don't think it's going to matter much in this application, but if it still bothers me when it comes time to assemble this, I'll probably put some epoxy or some tank sealant or JB weld or something between the bracket and the flat part to help hold together. Anyway, from this point on, it's just follow the plans. No more modifications beyond what's in the plans. So I'm just going to follow those, and what you're going to see next is me working with occasional commentary to the best royalty-free 80s stock music that I can find. Well, I'm done working on the firewall section. Overall, this section wasn't too bad. Everything actually went together pretty easy. There were a few gotchas or things to be aware of. One thing that I found is that actually back riveting all these angles and channels supporting structures right here, back riveting was really easy. I had to use some wood blocks to kind of raise the back riveting plate, but I was able to back rivet almost all the rivets on here, and that worked out really nicely. One of the exceptions, or one of the things that was hard to get, involved kind of these steel weldments right here. So with this steel weldment right here, as well as this steel weldment right here, I couldn't back rivet the rivets that were close to these sticky outy things. So after I had this guy set up on its side like this, I was able to rivet these back here using just a rivet gun and a bucking bar with no problem. So anyway, that turned out to not be too much of an issue, but I wasn't able to back rivet these rivets right here that are really close to the, the sticky outy things. Also, there is two things to be aware of with this area right here. One is this angle right here and this channel right here and this center angle right here don't fit together behind there very well. The fit is really tight. If you can see right here, there's a little bit of a recess here where the center angle is able to kind of fit in there. It's really tight, and if you don't grind the parts down where they fit, it's not going to fit well, and you're going to have a hard time riveting this thing to them because they're not setting flush. Also, this rib right here, I riveted this nose gear tensioner to this rib right here just fine, but I riveted this section here without putting it on the center angle. I was supposed to do that, so I had to drill out this line of rivets in order to attach it to the center angle and then attach the whole thing to the firewall. But other than that, this section here went together just fine. Also, one other thing, when it comes to riveting this guy on right here, you had to get the rivet gun inside of this recess, and my rivet gun was too big to fit. Fortunately, I had this rivet head with a kind of a rivet set with a swivel head. You can kind of see it right here. I bought this thing way back when I was originally buying tools for my build, and back then I was really excited. Any tool that I looked at and thought that might be useful someday, I went out and bought it. And some of these tools have not been useful at all, have been sitting untouched. And up until right now, this is one of those. Like a lot of specialty type tools, you never use them until you really need one. And this actually came in very handy right here. I don't know if it's worth the cost. Maybe I could have been creative and figured out another way to do it. Maybe use pulled rivets or Cherry Max rivets. I actually was going to use Cherry Max rivets, but I didn't have the right size. But anyway, I used this and was able to set the normal aluminum rivets just fine. Other than that, this whole section went together pretty easily. It's pretty straightforward. So that's it for this video. Next video, I'm going to start on section, I think, 28 and basically build out some of beef up this structure right here. Add some of the pilot and passenger seat and stuff like that. So anyway, that's it for now. Oh yes, and one other thing while it's on my mind. I decided to finish some of the interior bottom surfaces of the airplane in this sort of black color right here. Specifically, I'm using just rattle can, Rust-Oleum matte black hammered finish. I've noticed other people on their RV10s have used this finish for some of the interior surfaces, and it might not be as good as some two-part epoxies or finishes that were meant for the interior of airplanes, but I'm okay with that. I wouldn't mind mixing some expensive nice paint, but the stuff I like about this hammered finish is that if it ever scratches, it's going to be really easy for me to do touch-ups with a rattle can versus something that I have to spray, some two-part epoxy or something like that. So that's the first reason I use this. Also, it lays down really nice. It has kind of a nice finish, and it's somewhat tolerant to people who want to spray paint that don't really know what they're doing. So I like this. I've seen other people use the hammered finish on their RV10s. Austin Menke is using some on his build. He's another guy. He's putting together an RV10 and has his own YouTube channel. I've seen some flying RV10s that have used this as well. So I decided to go with it. For the most part, you won't be able to see the finish anyway. Most of the areas where this finish is going to be on is going to be covered by carpet. But still, I decided to use this for the bottom of the plane. I'm going to kind of go for a two-tone approach, where the bottom, where your feet go, is going to be black or darker, and then the rest of the plane is going to be more of a lighter tan, something like that. But anyway, so that's what you're seeing there.